So today we're working on our Mathemagic book, page number 97, and it's called Mental Strategies 2. And it's all about multiplying by 10, 100 and 1,000 and dividing by 10, 100 and 1,000. These are really easy to do and I'll show you how now. When you're working in your copybook, don't do all of the line across. I just want you to do 1AF, 2AF, 3AF, all over on the left hand side. 4AFK, 5AEF, 6AEF. And I imagine you'll get them done in no time because they're not very tricky. So this is how you do them. Anytime you multiply by 10, you add a 0 because there's 1 0 on the 10, so you add a 0. So in this case, the answer is 3, 4, 7, a 0, 3,470. You're adding the 0 because you're making it bigger because it's a multiplication. This is 223 multiplied by 10. You're making it bigger, so you add the 0. It gives you 2,230. Now, when you're multiplying by 100, instead of adding 1 0, because there's 1 0 on the 10, you add 2 zeros because there's 2 zeros in the 100. So that gives you, in this case, adding the 2 zeros, gives you 33,900. Similarly here, adding 1, 2 zeros, because you're multiplying, you must make it bigger. So you're multiplying by 100, you have to put 2 zeros onto the end. And in this case, it gives you 76,000. When you multiply by 1,000, the principle is the same. There's 3 zeros in the 1,000, so you add 3 zeros onto the number because you're multiplying and you're making it bigger. So when you're adding 3 zeros onto 20 at the end of it, you get 20,000. And you can do it with 367 multiplied by 1,000, put 3 zeros onto the end. That gives you 367,000. Division works in much the same way, except that you're making the number smaller. So when you're dividing by 10, you take 1 0 off because there's 1 0 on the 10. So 550 divided by 10, there's 1 0, remove 1 0, 55. Similarly, dividing by 10, removing 1 0 from this number gives you 78. Now remember, if you had a number like this, for example, instead of 550, if you had 551, there's no 0 there to remove, so you can't remove it as 0. In that case, you will be making it smaller, and you imagine that the decimal point is there and you move the decimal point over 1, which gives you 55.1. That's not what we're working on today, but that's just to remind you, you cannot simply remove a 0 if there's no 0 there. So these sums all have a 0 on at the end for dividing. It's different for the multiplication because you can add a 0 easily, but if the 0 isn't there, you can't simply remove it. So dividing by 100 then, there's 2 zeros in the 100, so you remove 2 zeros. 8,000 divided by 100 leaves you with 80. 9,500 divided by 100, 1, 2 zeros, 1, 2 zeros, get rid of those, gives you 95. And dividing then by 1,000, you've got 1, 2, 3 zeros. Dividing by 1,000, you've got 3 zeros here that you can remove, so get rid of those, gives you 35. And here, dividing by 1,000, 1, 2, 3 zeros. There's 3 zeros there, so you can remove them, leaving you with 97. I hope that helps. Remember not to do all of the lines across. Do 1AF, 2AF, 3AF, 4AFK, 5AEI, and 6AEI. Take care with 6I because it's dividing by 100, not 1,000. Thanks for listening, guys.